Okay. Andi, Bree, fifth block. The phospholipid bilayer makes up the cell membrane. There's a polar head made of a phosphate group and two nonpolar tails made of fatty acids. The polar head works with the water and interacts with it freely, but the water is repelled by the inner nonpolar ends. This holds the bilayer in place. There are also cholesterol molecules in between the polar ends of the phospholipid that keep the cell membrane fluid. The cell surface marker identifies the type of cell. It is made up of two parts, a carbohydrate part and a protein part. This gives the other cells the ability to identify a specific type of cell. Small nonpolar molecules, such as oxygen molecule, are able to passively pass through the cell. The O2 can passively pass through the cell membrane because it works to even out the concentration gradient. The concentration gradient is the difference of the concentration of a substance across a space. The molecule tries to reach equilibrium by evening out the concentration of a substance, in this case, oxygen. This is the ion channel protein. The ion channel passively allows ions to pass through with the concentration gradient when a single molecule attaches to the protein. This is a signal or receptor protein. This is used with things like hormones. Epinephrine, an amino acid-based hormone that attaches to the receptor protein for it. After the receptor protein activates the intermediary protein, then the enzyme, which creates or formates the second messenger. The second messenger starts a domino effect by activating and deactivating other enzymes. This signals the heart cells to increase your heart rate. Carrier protein allows larger polar molecules to cross the cell membrane, in this case, glucose, during the facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion is a type of passive transport that doesn't use the cell's energy and it works with the concentration gradient. The protein changes shape and when it binds to the molecule and exposes the molecule to the opposite end of the membrane. The sodium-potassium pump is a specific pump designed to maintain the slight negative charge of the inside of the cell. The pump moves positive sodium and positive potassium against their concentration gradients. Allowing the process therefore requires energy. 3 sodium ions inside the cell bind to the pump, and because energy is required, ATP molecules bind to the pump and a phosphate group breaks off and the ATP changes to ADP. The release of energy changes the shape of the pump and the sodium ions are released. Once the pump is open, 2 potassium ions outside the cell will bond to the pump, and when the phosphate group is released, the pump changes shape again and releases the potassium inside of the cell. This is necessary because an accumulation of sodium ions would be toxic and cause an influx of water into the cell, which may cause the cell to burst.
Well, that was